and let's be clear. Let's tell people what you were doing. You were for the FBI looking at NSA intercepts. So you, 3 days after 9/11, you get hired. They're hiring a big force to go in there and listen to the Arabic and things. You're hearing Al-Qaeda. I mean, tell people in a nutshell the intercepts, what you heard.
Well, first of all, there were several areas where I was working for the FBI, counterintelligence and also counterterrorism. Now, some of these files dated back to mid-1990s, Alex, 1996, okay? And it covered the period 96 to 2001. And we, as a nation, and this is not the FBI, okay? This is the CIA and the State Department, our military-industrial complex. We were busy working in Central Asia and in Caucasus. These are the Turkic republics, you know, the ex-Soviet Union states. And I do speak those languages. I speak Turkish, I speak Azerbaijani, so I had to re-review because they had been translated, summary translation before. And basically, it showed that our government, okay, has been working with, they didn't even call them Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda didn't get to be called Al-Qaeda until 9/11 in the FBI. They still refer to them, our government, as Mujahideen, our allies Mujahideen. So they were creating cells in Central Asia and Caucasus, and they had an arm of NATO, and this is through their, Turkey's ally countries, a NATO member, and creating cells together with these elements from Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, Bin Laden and Ayman Zawahiri. And they were pouring hundreds of millions of dollars creating these terror cells against Russia in Central Asia and Caucasus, in Azerbaijan, in Kyrgyzstan, in Tajikistan.
And they're using the same terror cells against Libya and Syria and against Russia again, while using them against us to take our liberties.
Yeah, they've been using and they've been partners with these people. Those people actually work for us. They have been working for us since 1980s, the big Afghan Soviet
And this is after the Russian thing, though. You're seeing stuff 96, and you said up to,
exactly.
And you said up to the day of 9/11. Tell us about those.
We built 300 madrasas, okay, with our money, our taxpayers' money. Congress would help the federal government, and this is the State Department and Pentagon, to funnel money to these Turkish construction companies. These are front companies, as these are the aid, the U.S. aid to bring democracy to these states. When the money was being used, building madrasas, bringing Zawahiri several times into Azerbaijan. So for the FBI, it was a shock because the FBI, they were not like the CIA. I mean, not the heads. The heads of FBI, they're part of the same police state. But these agents for years have been calling for real investigations, but they were being shut down by the State Department and the CIA. This was our so-called diplomatic foreign relations. This was what we were doing.
Could join us today for this Wednesday, July 25th, 2001 broadcast. Tyranny is enveloping the globe, and the United States is a shining jewel the globalists want to bring down, and they will use terrorism as the pretext to get it done. So that's coming up in the second half of the show. Very important information. I'm going to put the call out that you call the White House and tell them, look, we've seen the news stories that you've wanted to blow things up, that you have blown things up, and that you're saying that 4 million of us are going to die and we need martial law and the Associated Press at one of your little drills you had, and that we're aware of who the terrorists are if you pull this. This can stop this Hitlerian Reichstag event. I want to put the toll-free number up for Congress. And I won't want you to believe Alex Jones. I want you to go get these news stories off my website. I want you to call these major newspapers. I want you to find out these statements were true by the White House about preparing for martial law. And I want you to let them know that if there is any terrorism, we know who to blame. The point is, if any terrorism comes, it's from this government. And if there was an outside threat like a bin Laden, who was a known CIA asset in the 80s, running the Mujahideen war, and whose family builds all the military bases over in Saudi Arabia right now, and sits on the board of Iridium Satellite, he's the boogeyman they need in this Orwellian phony system. I want the White House numbers up there now. A big part of this solution, after you research all the government terrorism and check out what I'm saying is true, call the White House and tell them, we know the government's planning terrorism. We know Oklahoma City and World Trade Center was terrorism. We know the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted to blow up airliners, Baltimore Sun. If you do it, we're going to blame you.